now tuned in to the Cosmic Convos podcast, your number one source for accurate, relevant, and thought-provoking astrological conversations in the podcast nation. The place where stars and minds align.
Peace. You are now tuned into the Cosmic Convos podcast. I'm your humble host, Harut, and this is another Patreon episode. But before we get too far, I want to remind you all, make sure you like, and you should be already subscribed to here if you're a Patreon member. But if you're not, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And hit the notification bell so you can know when these lives are going to happen and stuff like that. And let's go ahead and get moving. So I put out that schedule a couple weeks ago, and just been trying to get everything organized and everything like that to really, deliver that schedule properly and stuff like that. So be on the lookout for that. The actual Patreon episodes were supposed to be starting this week. And actually on Monday, you're supposed to get an episode, but got an interesting story. So I sat down on Monday, had the show all queued up and everything like that to knock it out. And boom, camera wasn't popping up on the software, right? So that was a big problem. I had to go rush out to Micro Center and try to get a new piece for it. And I got it home, still wasn't working. Was on customer service for a long time and everything like that. And we finally discovered the problem, or whatnot. I had a issue with one of my USB hubs here. Man, I got like a high power USB hub that is I got so much stuff plugged into my my iMac. It's crazy. So the problem is that. So I end up I got to switch that out. But right now I have everything going directly into my iMac. Some things I don't have connected, like I got hard drives that's offline right now, but I don't need it to do this live, to do this show for y'all. So, big up for ingenuity. All right. And also because of that, right, I didn't realize that my Rodecaster wasn't hooked up to my computer. So when you heard the intro, there was no music. And then when I flipped over and when I realized, I'm like, oh, snaps. None of this stuff is hooked up into the software. So I had to go and run it back and get it fixed, hook that up and everything like that. So just all sorts of technical difficulties, but we powering on or whatnot. So updates. So be on the lookout for these episodes Monday and Wednesday mornings. Okay. That's hypothetically they'll be somewhere around this time, most likely a little earlier. Right? If you're up early, jump on with us and stuff like that, and we can engage like we always do. If not, just watch the playback or whatnot. And like I said, let me know what type of things you want to hear and different things like that, because on the Patreon, we're going to cover things, talk about things in a way that we wouldn't talk about them on the actual public podcast and stuff like that. So I want you guys to get a value for it, and we want to grow this thing, right? So let's go ahead and get into it. So you saw that from the cover art and everything like that, and for the post. This episode is about the good brother Kanye West. Interesting guy. I might have talked about him briefly on here before, but I wanted to bring some context to it, via astrology. And, mainly I want to talk about it through Bazi, right? And if you don't know, Bazi is a astrological form that relies on the 5 elements, right? So that's fire, earth, metal, water, and wood. Okay. 5 elements. And it basically maps the configuration of those 5 elements in all of us, right? It's a way to categorize and organize the Earth's life force and your life force, and then how you're interacting based on how you're interacting with time based on your configuration of your life force. Each element has certain personality characteristics that it carries, right? And for you personally, and for the brother Kanye and anyone else, those elements mean something different to you than it may mean for me, right? Based on the way how your chart is configured, right? And there's 5 areas of life, right, that corresponds to these 5 elements, right? So you have your friends / parallel area of life, right? And that will also be your day master, which I explained in other episodes. It's sort of like the ascendant in Jyotish, right? It's how you exert yourself. It's you yourself, right? It's very similar to the ascendant, okay? Very similar to the ascendant, right? So you have that friends parallel area of life, right? And your day master will be wired in that as well. Also Rob Wealth, okay? That's all one area of life, okay? Then you have your output, right? Which is your ability to produce things, right? Your actual production capacity, all right? You have your wealth, which is your ability to sustain an environment, to sustain yourself and others, right? You have power, okay, which is your ability to be able to take direction, right? And to then give direction, right? We're talking about power, right? But power in this sense is like, no one empowers someone who doesn't know how to take direction. Not really. You have to empower yourself if you're that type of person, right? But no one's going to necessarily give you a hand up per se, because that usually is not welcome energy within an organization or within a industry, right? We're going to see that today a little bit, right? And then you have the resource area of life, which is your capacity to learn, the support system that you have. It can even be, grants and loans and different things like that. It's support from a source that's of higher status than you, right? So that could be your parents, your grandparents, your actual, if you're working, your leadership structure, your bosses, different things like that, right? So those are the 5 areas of life. What each one means to you depends on your chart, right? But we're going to talk about this from Kanye's perspective. All right. So Kanye West, very interesting brother. Okay. And his chart is quite unique. It's unique, but it's not uncommon for people who achieve high who rise to high statuses in life. It's not uncommon in that way, right? And one of my teachers always says, when evaluating talent using the Bazi system, right? To see talent, first of all, you need to see one of those elements pronouncing itself overly abundantly, right? But the trick is that you want that element to be so excessive that it pronounces itself, but you want it to be you want to be able to pull that back if necessary. Okay? You want to be right on the edge of crazy and great. Right on the edge of crazy and great. Okay? Because to be able to go out there and do things that people haven't seen before, it takes, extreme effort, right? It takes extreme effort. It's not something that just comes easy. Hold on one second. I'm pulling up a couple things. Okay. So all right. So you got to be right on the edge of crazy and great. All right. And Kanye is no exception to this. Right. So to get us moving, let me go ahead and show you all the brother's chart. All right. And as usual, sometimes, with some of these charts, there's a discrepancy. Gotta love wireless remotes and keyboards. They know how to go out on you when you're right in the middle of a live, right? Give me one moment. Wish I had the Jeopardy music. See if we good money now. Are we good money? We're not good money. Give me 1 second, folks. Let me see what I can do here. All right. Good thing I keep a big old pack of AA batteries real close by. All right. Got that there. Now, we better be good money. Otherwise, me and this company is going to be fighting. There we go. Thank you. Gee whiz. Wow. Okay. Now, back to what I was getting at with Kanye West. So here's the Good Brothers chart, right? Hopefully you all can see this. Do I need to zoom this in a little bit? Let's see if I zoom it in just a tad. Okay, that should help. All right, so Kanye West, born, okay, June 8th, 1977, okay. There's the time for his birth. It's not 100% verified. I think it might have been rectified, but it's 8:45 a.m. I'm looking at this chart. I believe it. It looks pretty close on to what his chart is, right? To how I see him come in the world. Either way it go, even if you ignore his time of birth, it tells the same story, right? It tells the almost same exact story, right? And I'm gonna show you why. Okay, so when looking at Bazi, right, we always start off with here. This is called your day pillar, okay? This is, see the 8th, that's the day pillar. And this top, branch right here, right? Or this heavenly stem right here, that's what it's called, HS, heavenly stem. This is the day master. And for Kanye, it's Bing, okay? Bing is unadulterated, the yang aspect of the fire element. And then it's the most expressive, right, part of our being, right? The fire element corresponds to the summertime. So in the summertime, what do? Right? We go out, we get expressive, right? We hang out, we party. Even, right now with COVID going on, people outside kicking it in the summertime. It's technically still summer, but it's coming close to an end, right? But that's the time period that all that stuff is done, right? And as you can see, even if you don't know that much about Bazi, right? This red, every time you see this red, this is talking about that fire element. You can tell that brother Kanye got a whole lot of summer energy in him, right? He had a whole lot of summer energy in him, okay? And it's his day master, right? And like I said before, that day master is your personal effort. It's the way that you exert yourself in the world. It's the way you do things based on your own means, right? Okay, so it means like when that day master is extremely strong like that, you want to do everything by yourself, for good or for bad, right? For good or for bad, okay, or whatnot. But you know, that's from the area of life perspective, okay? Because for him, friends, parallel, Rob Wealth, it's the fire element for him, okay? And Daymaster has that component to it, right? From an elemental perspective, okay? In Bazi, the an element is considered deficient when it's less than 10%, okay? Element is considered balanced if it's between 10% and 20%, okay? An element is considered excessive when it's over 20%, okay? Now, you see these percentages right here in this pie chart over here. As you can tell that the brother Kanye has an overabundance amount of the fire element, 66%. Wow. Wow. That is way past the 20% mark, right? Now, also when you're looking at a Bazi chart, like I said, kind of in the little opening here, is that this is where the talent is. We know that he got talent here, okay? We know that he has talent here. All right. With it being like that, we know that he has talent there. All right. So just wanted to pull up some things. Right. So looking at it from an elemental perspective, right? The fire element represents our ability to express ourselves, right? You see people who are great public speakers, or who don't get stage fright, who don't mind talking in front of people, right? They have a healthy amount of this element, okay? Others of us who don't have a whole bunch of it like that, we have to work on that. Kanye ain't got no problem expressing himself, right? And matter of fact, let me roll some tape, right? Let me see. Let me make sure you guys can see this. Do I move my screen down? What do I do? Nope. Let's see. What if I do it like this? All right. Cause I see it's a little cut off. Let me zoom it out some. Yeah. Let me zoom it out some. All right, let's see if I do it like this. Do you see it good? Yes, you do. Boom. There we go. All right. And let me make sure that you all can hear this.
I am a god. Everybody says, who does he think he is? I just told you who I thought I was. A god. Everybody says, who does he think he is? I just told you who I thought I was. A god. I just told you. That's who I think I am. I had plastic surgery because I was trying to look good for y'all. I got liposuction because I didn't want y'all to call me fat. About slavery for 400 years. For 400 years, that sounds like a choice. Like, you was there for 400 years and it's all of y'all?
Fair use.
Park. Now everybody's trying to I don't give how much you sold. If you playing on radio, are you connecting? Picasso is dead. Steve Jobs is dead. Walt Disney is dead. Name somebody living that you can name in the same breath as them.
Look how she looking at him.
Don't tell me about being likable. We got 100 years here.
You ain't got the answers.
I'm asking you.
You
a
ain't been
question.
doing the education.
Bro.
You ain't been doing the education.
Calm down.
You don't have the answers though.
Calm down.
Because you trying to give me advice about
No,
something.
no,
you ain't
listen.
got the answer. You ain't spent $13 million of your own money
You're
trying to
absolutely
empower
right.
yourself.
Yes, but I spent hundreds of thousands and putting out clothing lines at a smaller degree. All I'm asking you,
And it ain't no Ralph though.
Yo, Taylor, I'm really happy for you. I'm gonna let you finish. But Beyonce had one of the best videos of all time. One of the best videos of all time.
I want to thank BET for, excuse me, Kanye, I'm going to let you continue, but
Vic, come on.
Oh!
Kanye. Oh, Kanye.
Kanye, you okay?
You okay? You all right, Kanye?
Are you okay?
Stop taking pictures of that,
good.
man. Take a fucking another photo, man. Don't take another fucking photo, man. I just got here, homie. Don't take no photos. Okay. Stop it. Brother, all of you motherfuckers, stop it, man. I just got
Whoa.
here, brother. I just
Sorry
got
for the
here.
cussing.
Kanye, I just got here. Leave the fucking man alone.
Sorry for the cussing.
How's it going, Kanye?
Don't say anything to me, man. Like, stop asking me questions. You out in front of my house at 4 a.m. Talking about how's it going? It's not going good. Y'all here trying to take money out to make money off us. That's how it's going. It's 4 a.m. It's 4 a.m. and you ask me how it's going. You know I don't want you to say nothing to me. You hear what I'm saying? Respect that.
I work with Madonna, and I went over her house and we were joking about the Test the Sky video, and I told her I used Pamela Anderson because I grew up on her. She helped, make me turn me to a man, and looked like Madonna was getting a little jealous. And I was like, no, I used to jack off to you too. So.
I haven't not done any drugs. I've drinking a little bit, but even if I wasn't drinking, I would have told you the same thing. What do it take to be number one? You are in the presence of a champion. Bow in the presence of greatness, family. Understand what I'm saying? It's 960. The people came out. The people have chosen. People came out and bought the album. They love the album. I can't walk down the street. Yay, we love the album. I say, man, I know it's great, isn't it?
You ain't got the answers, man. You ain't got the answers.
Kanye.
You ain't got the answers. You ain't got the answers, Sway.
Kanye.
I've been doing this more than you.
Doing what
You
more
ain't
than
got-
me? Come on, chill out.
You
bro.
ain't got the
Kanye.
answer.
All right, that's enough of that. Shout out to that channel for putting together that wonderful mashup of what they call Kanye's craziest moments. Right? But, the reason why that happens that way is because it's that overabundance of fire energy that Kanye has in his chart. Okay? And some of the indicators of overabundance of fire, especially of the yang variety. Let me scroll down and show you something, right? Let me expand this out. Yeah, it should be expanded out. There we go. Right. Okay. So he has an abundance amount of the yang fire. That's this 32% that we see here. Right. And we also see a lot of the yin fire, 34%. He has a healthy fire. Too healthy. Right. And fire, if it's the energy that makes you express yourself, right, makes you vocal, it's the source of extroversion, right? Extroversion. To the excess, what does that mean, right? You can't control yourself sometimes, right? You ever been in a class with a person that just can't help but to blurt out stuff, right? That's excessive fire, right? Somebody who is so externalized that, they don't seem like they can focus. They don't seem like they can focus on one thing, right? That's excessive fire, right? A lot of people who are being diagnosed with ADHD and ADD are really people who have excessive fire, right? Because that extroversion, the way it's not, people are not used to dealing with that. Okay. So when it comes off as unfocused, you understand what I'm saying? Hard to easily distracted, right? Because you're focused on everything that's outside of you. So you see everything, right? It also can, it can also contribute to mental illness, mania, insomnia, right? A lot of people who, schizophrenia, okay? You can see that in an excessive amount of fire, right? It's because it's just too much. It needs to be toned down, right? And, the reason why I'm even talking about Kanye right now, because he just released the album, the Donda album. Big up to him for that. It's actually an interesting album, Christian vibe and stuff like that. You got all the rappers speaking, Christian, talk and everything like that. So, that's I ain't got no problem with that, But his whole setup, right? He set up, he was pump faking, I'm gonna drop the album, I'm gonna drop it this day, I'm gonna drop it that day. You know understand what I'm saying? I'm not just gonna do no regular listening party. I'm gonna go and rent out the whole Mercedes-Benz Stadium here in Atlanta and have a sold out event and test my album out, right? And he just, this is here. This is that 66% fire that's expressing itself, that's showing that, right? And that's really his drive, right? He wants to, it's about music, but he wants to be seen. He wants to express this bubbling energy that's inside of him, right? So that's his source of creativity, right? And he's exactly who he says he is, for sure. He's exactly who he says he is. Whether you like his music or not, he is exactly who he says he is in that regard, right? But he can't help himself unless he goes, you know what I mean? Like if I met Kanye, I would have to sit with him and be like, look, man, let's get you an acupuncturist. You understand what I'm saying? Get you a good acupuncturist and really put this thing together, right? Because this is the problem, right? This is why it comes off that way. If he just was able to pull it back just a little bit to where he doesn't sacrifice the talent, but he's able to control it, Kanye West will be on point. Right? So let's look and see what's going on time period wise, right? So to understand that, okay, we have to evaluate all of these different elements, okay? So for him, his source of output, right? This is not creativity like, how good can you write or, how, good of an artist it is. This is productivity, right? And it's healthy. 17% is balanced. Okay. So he's able to put it together enough to be able to, he gets to utilize his efforts, right? Wealth. Now you see 5% here. Wealth, like I told you, is your ability to sustain yourself, sustain your situation, right? Take care of yourself and others. It's at 5%. We're going to get back to that, right? Power, 9%, right? Remember I told you power was the ability to be controlled and your ability to control. Now, when you look at this, all right, let's look at it from this perspective, this little diagram down here, okay? According to 5-element theory, water controls fire, okay? Meaning that water can always put out fire, all right? Now, water being power here, all right, and it's supposed to put out his fire, he don't got enough water. He don't have enough water to put out his fire. So that's why Kanye West doesn't want to be controlled. Okay? That's why Kanye West is people, he gets elevated, but they don't feel like they can trust him to do what he want to do. He's a live wire. This is why. This is exactly why. He's a live wire. Okay? Because this element, this water, is hard to control. And I guarantee you, if you know him, in the wintertime, he's way more palatable. He's easier to deal with. I bet you in the wintertime, he's easier to deal with. All things being equal, depending on what else is going on in the elements, you know what I mean? The year, the month and everything the year mainly. Depends on what else is going on. But all things being equal, I guarantee you, he is cooler in the summertime. In the wintertime. In the summertime, he off the hook. off the hook, right? And his greenest resource, right? So he didn't have a lot of support. And if you listen to his story, he'll say that, right? Like he had all of this, like I can do this, I can do that, right? When you got excessive parallels, me, right? But he didn't have the support figures there to it. So he had to go force his way. It was necessary for him to be that type of guy to be able to get to where he needed to get because he didn't have the support, right? He didn't have that. His mom, she looked out for him, but she couldn't get him where he needed to go and stuff like that. He had to go and make that way on his own. And he did it. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to him. Right? So let's get down here, right? We're going to look at these time periods, right? So Kanye West, he got big in this time period, right? Now, this is water, his wealth, not his wealth, his power in green resource area. He started to take off in this period of time, right? He was able, everyone says that he was that guy. He'd been that guy, right? But he was a little bit tamed, a little more tamed back then, right? And you could see during this 10-year cycle, he has the power gets energized and his support system gets energized of wood here, right? So here's him getting record deals, right? Here's him getting opportunities or whatnot to get into the music business. Okay. Here, right around this time, right? He solidified. He's known in the game, right? This is right around the time period where he started going, started, doing all the, jumping on stage, and Beyonce had the best video of all time, all those different things like that. Those areas are still there, but this right here, this energy is very supportive towards that fire. It's feeding it more so than this. This one is giving it to it, right? And you saw that, right? He was productive, right? Had the support structures in play, but that fire was off the hook, right? And this period of time is when he really started to make the wealth. Maybe he started getting it in here, but this is where he really started solidifying his wealth. I think this is right at the time when you start talking about he's finally out of debt and things like that, right? Because he has a good wealth infrastructure. Yeezys, all those different things are starting to really solidify itself in this period of time, right? And he's also uber productive. You may not like what he's producing, but he's getting a lot of stuff done. He got the shoes, the clothing. He has a whole bunch of other things going on. Also with the property out in, Montana and Wyoming and all those different things. He got a lot of different things going on, more than what people know, to make him a billionaire, right? And you see it happening here. I would say, looking at this, if Kanye West can keep it together, right, this time period would be very fruitful for him. He will be relatively good moving until his 70s, right? Because these energies, this is what you want to see if you're Kanye West. You want to see water, 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 because you want to take energy away from here. You have that on lock, right? So when you increase these energies, it puts strain on this. It calms this down. It pressures this down, right? This fire, okay? The water has more strength to be able to tame that fire, okay? It's not going to do it all the way, but it all helps. Every little bit counts, all right? Let's look to the immediate future, right? Let's see something. Next year, 2022. Why don't it let me do this? Software just did an update, and I'm not a fan of it. Okay. Next year, for Kanye West. Relatively good, right? It'll balance them out. Let's look at it, right? So you see here, this is the first month of the year, right? February, right here. This is taking his birth chart, which is this. This is the date chart that we're comparing it with. This is February 2022. That's when the Bazi year changes over, right? And this is the sum total of it, just based on the month and that year at that time, right? So it takes a little energy off of it, okay? This should help him out a little bit. It should give him some some assistance or whatnot. I think next year should be a good year for him. All things being equal. I mean, you also have to keep in mind, like he could have, had some damage. He could be going through some actual mental issues, and I think he is on some form of psych meds, and stuff like that. Now this June, that's hot. That's too much for him. He might be turned up next summer. He might even drop another album. Ain't no telling what he gonna do next summer, right? But that's the beauty of this science, man. Y'all, got the ladies on here. Shout out to the ladies. That's the beauty of this science, because you can see what's going on. You understand what I'm saying? You can look inside your life and be able to really predict it. Now, to me, I think Bazi is a better personal science, and I'm still learning some things about the mundane application, because it's not common to see mundane application for Bazi, right? Most people just look at the year and see how it is, but as far as evaluating charts for a country, that's not something that's common in Bazi. It's not a lot of literature about that. So, that's something that I kind of explore offline and try to put it together, because there's no real resource for that. So that would be something that we would have to bring to the table. And we might just do that. All right. So this is 2023. Another good time for him. Another good time. So I think if Kanye can keep it together, he's going to sound crazy. He's going to look crazy, but he been looking that way his whole life from the jump. He'll be able to smooth it out, right? And, it's no mistake that he started to get more religious when these time periods come in, right? That's him being able to be controlled a little bit more, right? There's a little cap on him. He ain't off the chain like he was. He's got more religious and different things like that. That's what we're seeing in these changes of energies on the brother Kanye's chart. All right. So, with that being said, I think we sliced that up pretty well. I know this is early, you guys going to get used to it, but we start flowing in once we get real consistent and stuff like that. I want y'all to come up here so we can engage with each other and get this thing real interactive. Also, another thing, coming October, all right, I want you guys to go in there and do this. I am going to simplify the Patreon, right? It's no more going to be tiered Patreon members. The one price, it's going to be one price for Patreon. It's going to be $9.99 for moving forward. Okay, so if you can, please go into your account and change your pledge to the new tier that I'm going to create. It should be there by the end of the week. Go in there, change it to the new tier, so when the next cycle come around, you can change it to $9.99. All right, and all the other ones are going away. Okay, make sure you drop some comments down in the Patreon or on this channel. Or on the actual YouTube video itself. You can do that, and we can interact with each other. And let me know some other things that you want to see. I got some other shows planned. I might even do like a little light Bazi fundamental show. You understand what I'm saying? Just talk about some of the, things about it. You know what I mean? And we can also talk about Jotish as well. I didn't want to bring up his chart on here. I wanted to stay focused on it because you see a lot of the same things on it. Because he's a Gemini ascendant, I believe. Perfect sense, right? But anyways, though, with that being said, thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for supporting the channel, supporting the Patreon and everything like that. And see you all I'm gonna give you another show on Friday, okay, to make up for that Monday show. All right. So you guys be safe out there, and make sure you tune in tonight for our Cosmic Convos episode. We're going to be doing Coco Chanel. She's just a much more interesting person than you think. Espionage, the whole vibe. A lot of things about Coco Chanel that a lot of people don't know. So we're going to cover her chart tonight on the Cosmic Convos podcast. So stay tuned on that. All right. So with that being said, I'm out and peace.